What's going on, everybody? This is Travis Witherspoon from Carter Cow Capital, helping you fight for your financial freedom throughout the forex market. This is the first time that we're probably going to end up doing early morning sessions. For some of y'all that know, some of y'all that don't know, I'm actually a teacher by trade. That's what I end up doing from a everyday basis at a local high school, and essentially we end up starting school at 7:15 in the morning. I have some planning periods that I can be able to take advantage of with the first portion of the day, in which we may end up switching the time to be at 7:30. But I got to see how that kind of plays out for the first week or so. And because this is my first day going back, I want to make sure that one, I can be able to give y'all a lot of great information of what we're going to end up talking about, but also be able to respect the time that I have to be able to go in and be able to get everything else done. So I'm going to be very quick with this session. We're going to end up talking about a few things. I'm actually in the midst of um, all the trades that we end up talking about on Friday and on Thursday. All of those trades have kicked in. We are going big fish hunting at this particular point in time, which means that it's going to require a little bit of patience for us to be able to ride this out and a little bit of luck. Hopefully it does. Seen earlier this morning that I was pretty much on one of my small accounts. I almost hit 100% gain when it came down to the movement. But obviously, it got a little bit more of a ways to be able to go as we kind of put everything together on this movement. So once again, a little bit of luck, hopefully a little bit of um, and hopefully a little bit of movement from everybody else. So let's go ahead and get started. Not a CTA, so I'm not going to tell you whether to buy or to sell. What I'm going to do is teach you education, and from the education, you can be able to make your own informed decision. I understand that trading involves risk. It involves risk of being able to make money, also involves risk of being able to lose money. So please keep that in mind. And understand that past performance is not indicative of future results, which means that if you end up making money yesterday, it's not promised that you can end up making money today. Peter, what's going on, dude? Can you please take a look at Bitcoin? Yeah, we'll take a look at all of them. Man, I didn't expect anybody to be able to show up. I swear. I didn't expect anybody to show up, but good to see both of y'all. Thank y'all. Y'all made my day just by doing that. There we go. That's perfect. So let's go ahead and take a look at the calendar. Let's go ahead and take a look at the calendar real quick. See what's happening when it comes down to that movement. Then after that, we'll go through everything else. So today it's going to end up being a trader's day. There's going to end up being a GDP that actually end up coming out for the pound. That actually end up being at 0.2 annually. Other than that, the charts are going to end up being the most important thing to be able to take a look at. So please make sure that as we go through and take a look at whether it feels the trades that I end up telling you or the trades that y'all end up asking about, that we pay attention to what's happening with the chart more than what's happening with the economic news. Okay. Let's go ahead and jump into the big three real quick. And then after that, we'll take a look at Bitcoin because Bitcoin is quickly starting to be one of the big three, kind of seeing what's happening with the overall market. We take a look at what's happening with the United States dollar index. Currently, right now, the market ended up hitting a 382, which we talked about before because it ended up having a light retracement. Since from there, it ended up retracing, and we're starting to see a little bit of a U-turn. Now, this happened based off the daily because the daily ended up hitting a D-extension. What was it, at 13 to 168? And since then, the market has done a little bit of a U-turn at this particular point. So the thing was, I said that I was not interested in being able to trade to the downside. I still remain to be true when it comes down to the United States dollar index when it comes down to movements. I'm not interested in being able to trade to the downside, but I know that there are a lot of people inside of this room or a lot of people that watch this that may be interested in being able to do that. If you are interested in being able to do that, you actually have a sale right now that you could kind of take advantage of because the market has done what you typically expect. It's broken out, it's given a slight little retest. There's a counter trend line break, and now the market is starting to fall down a little bit. So the question is, if you're going to scout this for the first time of a movement, where would you particularly take this to? That D extension would end up being at 13,072 for that movement. If you are looking at being able to scalp it, I'll place my stop loss above the high of the swing. And then after that, look at being able to make a movement from there. But once again, I told you I'm not interested in being able to take that trade. Just not in my, it's definitely not my nature anymore to be able to take trades like that going against the grain as much as this is, because we know that the market has broken the inner trend line, now moving toward the outer. So it should kind of gravitate toward the downside. But I still like the trading the bullish movement based off of that overall. Give me a second. What was that? Jeez. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at oil real quick. Then we'll take a look at gold. Gold probably should be the easiest one because we still haven't been trading that. Oil. So the Canadian dollar ended up having their GDP to end up coming out. Remember, the GDP was actually pretty good. So it's the expectation that we probably could start seeing a U-turn for its overall movements. Also, we're getting close to the winter months, and because we are getting close to the winter months, typically the Canadian dollar starts to thrive because oil starts to pick up. So the market has retraced all the way down from the 786 and has completed a daily D extension right here at 8307. So that means that there's going to end up being a U-turn that's about to happen. Now we talked about from a okay, let's say that over again. From a phase of this market moving to the downside, if this market remains to be in this bearish crown, we probably see this market fall down to the D extension, in which it already did. Now, with that being said, there's still more expected push that the market could keep on going down a little bit further than that. We have to take a look at that from the daily. What? Huh? What's wrong with the shorts? Because this is too small. Son, you wore shorts yesterday. No, that's TON. Okay, go find some pants upstairs. Go ahead. You can find some pants upstairs as long as they match. um, but currently, right now, what is happening is this market from a daily position is in a R3 position, but it's broken a counter trend line break. To me, this is untradeable at this particular point. There's no move to be able to take, even though the market is actually showing signs of being able to go up. I wouldn't be interested in being able to make any move off of that. So oil, I'm going to count that as a no, at least for right now. Remember, it's 6:30, so anything can happen in the next 3 hours. So I would say pay attention to what we end up doing, or what I end up doing for its actual signals or anything else like that that I might end up placing on the page, so everybody can be able to see it. But right now, there's really no movement on this one. Let's take a look at gold real quick. Gold, just to be able to reiterate what's happening, is starting to go in the middle of a consolidation. Remember, I said I wasn't interested in to be able to make a trade unless it broke below 1685 or broke above 1872. Currently, right now, it's in the middle of this overall zone, so there's really no trade to be able to take on that one. Let's go to Bitcoin real quick. Let's see what's happening with that overall. And kind of go after that movement. Now I'm going to look at this from a Fibonacci perspective, and then after that I'm going to look at this from a vortex trading perspective. Now, from a Fibonacci perspective, the market has broken down to the downside. There's a D extension that's suspected that could possibly be hit at 10,835. We end up talking about that, and I end up saying that there was no chance of the market basically end up falling down that far. But if you take a look at what's happening, we can see that there's a lot of built up consolidation that's actually being spearheaded by this overall move. It broke up to the upside at one point in time, and then after that, kind of found support again. Since finding support, it has broken back up to the upside. So the question would be, is this the true consolidation up here, or are we out of the consolidation based off of these spots up here? That'll be a good question. I think the best answer to that will be, let's take a look at one of the charts from Trading View, and we kind of get a better answer off of that. Let's go Trading View. I haven't noticed that it says that I'm live on the screen. That's actually pretty cool. Okay, what happened to my? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I remember what happened. Okay, so we had a breakout to the upside of this long-term consolidation, went up to this push, fell inside of this vortex area right here. That's a large move, um, which was from here to here. Since then, the market ended up giving. Hmm, go upstairs, baby. Since then, the market has looked like it At first it looks like a rising wedge, but I'm going to call it consolidation. Um, from here to here. Let's see. And at this particular point, we go based off of the hour and not get up to 15 minutes. It's actually breaking over top of the consolidation that was made back in early August. So, with that being said, if that is going to remain to be true, then that means that we're falling inside of this large vortex space that end up happening when the market end up making that big drop in early August. Now, that's a good thing for people that are looking at being able to buy. Um, if you are looking at being able to buy, it's actually in the middle of that consolidation right now. It's already done broken out of that area. You're going to start to see a lot of this when I end up talking about US 30 and US 30 and a few other spaces. I'll be bullish all the way up to 22,706 or 22,700. So any move for us being able to get in, any opportunity for us being able to get in, that will be my thought process on what I would want to do with this move. I will stop, baby, stop, Mason, go upstairs. Um, I'll want to look for counter trend line breaks. Once you end up getting a solid counter trend line break to be able to make a move off of, I will look at being able to take that trade all the way up to the top and keep on riding it out as much as possible. So obviously, if you're a long-term trader, obviously you just dollar cost averaging. If you're one of those guys that use margin and everything else like that, I will look at this counter trend line break after the. I would probably say wait a little bit longer and wait for the hour to be able to get back into the buy zone. But it is inside of this overall area, so that may end up being a 15-minute counter trend line break entry, and then after that, placing your stop loss either below this overall long-term consolidation at 21,331 and allowing it to be able to have to fight through that previous consolidation, or if you're going to be a little bit more conservative, place it at 21,950 and then after that, see the market kind of push up from there. Either way, either way, I like the trade to the upside on this move. Okay, hopefully that helps out. Um, like I end up saying, what was it, 22,700? 22,700 will be my target, um, and that would kind of match up with what ended up happening from a previous move all the way up to the upside. Now, being aggressive, you possibly could be able to take it back up to 23,000 if you're just looking at being able to scalp it all the way through. But I think the better trade, safer trade would be 22,700. 22,700. All right, let's go through the previous trades that we ended up talking about and getting into on Friday. Um, so US 30, we end up seeing this move actually move to the downside, go to this downward channel. We finally end up breaking out of the downward channel and the long-term consolidation on Friday. We end up placing in a order at 3,200, 3,200 and 32,070 respectively. Currently, the market right now is at 32,295 and starting to look like it's starting to have a little bit of a retracement for the overall move. Um, like I ended up saying before on one of my trades, quite frankly, earlier this morning, when it was at 353, it ended up putting me basically at a 100% gain if it keeps on moving based off of this position. Now, I would caution and always say this. Um, because we are going big fish hunting, meaning that we are trying to go after this big move that ended up happening right here, kind of like what ended up happening based off of Bitcoin. And we are in an area to where if this market does break above 32,300, that it's in a very strong unfair market price all the way up to 32,700. This is one of those times where you just got to say, hey, it's going to have to take me out. It's going to have to fall all the way down to my original positions and go below it to be able to take me out because there's no way unless there's a true break to the downside that I'm going to get out of this move. I know it's a 700-point move for its overall movement, which means that it would have to fall 300 points plus another 200 points to be able to drop me out and take me out of all of my positions. I am, to be honest, I am fine with that unless there's something that this absolutely kills the market and pushes it to the downside. I'm willing to take that risk when it comes down to this movement. So I'm going to be a little bit more patient when it comes down to this. I expect that the market will get up to 32,700. There's a couple positions that you have to pay attention to: 32,420 and 32,550 as overall moves to the upside. If you got into this trade, and obviously some of y'all will be watching this live now, but for the people that are watching this live, that is the move that we're in. Congratulations for staying in the move. I'm going to say be patient. Move your trail stop to break even if you need to. Try to get as much points as you need to when it comes down to this movement. There's already been a counter trend line break at 1 o'clock. My hope is that we keep on seeing this upside movement after the 930 bill hits and kind of goes from there. Let's take a look at what's happening with DAX. DAX was in the same trade. We was actually taking a look at it. That trade is actually over with for us, but it's actually done moved into its own it's actually done moved into its vortex area as well. Market, we end up getting into it at 13,041. Our take profit was at 13,160. That take profit has completed. That move is actually over with for the people who end up taking that trade on Friday. Congratulations once again. Now this market is actually moving up to the 13,350 area. I had a pending order trade that was at 13,350 going all the way up to what was that 13,410. That is still out there that I'm still looking at being able to cash out if that does happen. From an hourly standpoint, we are past the biggest volume node when it comes down to this movement. So if there is a retracement and you could possibly be able to get back in at 13,220, then I'll be interested in being able to take that. And that move will end up going from 13,220 all the way up to 13,600 if that does happen. Now, am I expecting for that to happen today? No. But that is the next biggest move that we are kind of in the midst of. So a counter trend line break, I'll be looking for that. We can be able to get into that movement from there. Based off of that, then I'll be interested in being able to take that. Remember, this movement would be based off the 15-minute. So we are seeing a little bit of consolidation just early in the beginning of the morning. This market does break these overall highs. I would kind of pay attention to that and see how it kind of reacts. Now, it's only going to hit support one time, so it probably will, depending on how this market actually moves, it probably will hit support maybe once again. But once it ends up breaking past this area to the upside, that'll be the trade that I'll look at being able to take once again to the upside and kind of ride it out to the position where I think it's going to end up going. Okay, so if you got into the trade on Friday, you've already done hit profit. Congratulations on that. Now we're waiting for another move to be able to get in. Let's take a look at Nas. Nas, we end up getting into that trade at 13,460. Since then, the market has been pushing up. We end up hitting take profit one at 13,650. Currently, right now, the market is inside of this large vortex area to where we're going after that large move that ended up happening, which was back when Jerome Powell ended up making that news or started talking about what he was doing for his inflation. As we see the market starting to push back and revert back up, I would say 12,830 will be one of those positions to be able to pay attention to, and 12,880 will end up being one of those positions to be able to pay attention to. I take profits are at 12,800 and 12,860 respectively. So let's see what you can be able to get. Obviously, the market's in a 15-minute, and we are also in a low volume area. So if everything remains to be true, I do expect that there's going to end up being market movement to the upside. Now, I think that there'll probably be somewhat of a fake out to be able to see that the market will kind of get pushed back to the downside at some point. But let's hope that it doesn't kill the overall move and keeps on moving up to the upside for us that trade. So once again, be patient. Be patient. If you don't feel comfortable with it, if it breaks a counter trend line break or whatever may end up being the case, then obviously look to be able to take your cash. But as long as it keeps on showing upward momentum, we're about 50% of the way there when it comes down to that movement. We don't see these trades often, so sometimes you got to be a little patient to allow them to be able to move. XVX 500, same deal, very close to being able to hit take profit, end up getting in at 4,013. Currently, the market, as we see it kind of move, is pushing up to the take profit of 4,110. We are in the midst of seeing a new higher high, and once again, probably about we're a little ways from out being out, about 30 points from being out for its overall movement. But I do expect that we can be able to hit this before or doing today's actual trading block. I see the market starting to give a little bit of a U-turn right now at this particular point. If it breaks the lows of if it breaks the lows of 32 130, then I'll probably be a little bit more hesitant on being able to say that I would like to be able to stay in. But let's hope and see if this market. Let's hope and see that this market doesn't go into consolidation today and keeps on making some upward movement for that overall space, and kind of finish out that move. I'm kind of not worried about it, but hopefully we don't get any bad news to the downside from there. That is the trades that we end up taking. Um, that is the trades that we end up taking on Friday. I don't have any new trades at this particular point right now. Let's see. Dow rises 100 points as Dow looks ahead of inflation data later this week. We're talking about that. That's on Wednesday, I believe. Okay. Um, okay. I don't see anything from there. So with that being said, thanks everybody for being able to pop into the morning session. Hopefully this end up helping out with everybody. We will do this for the rest of this week, and then after that, I see how if I need to change it to 7:30 or whatever may end up being the case. Like always, plan your trade, trade your plan. Everyone, y'all end up having a good one. Take it easy.